Okay. So let's start with the team. Wendy and I already introduced ourselves briefly, but we have a program director as well, and her name is Dr. Elena El Nino. She's the director of the El Nino B Lab at UC Davis. And that B Lab is also where the California Master Beekeeper Program is headquartered. So if you plan to come for in-person courses or you come to the celebration at the end of the year in person, there's always an option for remote as well if you don't live nearby for everything. But if you do come in person, which there are opportunities for that, you will be coming around UC Davis, and that's where the lab is located and where we have all the research hives. Always a great opportunity to get there. So a lot of the curriculum and the materials that we will be going through this program with is developed by Dr. Elena Nino and has been supplemented and improved every year by Wendy, me, and a curriculum development committee. So most up-to-date information for you at all times. And so Wendy and I are really the ones that you'll be interacting with for most of the program. And we are here to answer any questions you have. We have office hours weekly. The program is very self-guided, but we are here to support you. And we make ourselves available as much as possible to support you in your learning and with any technical issues that come up. So I'll take this one too, Wendy, if that's good. So people beekeep for many different reasons. And it could be sustainability. Maybe you're getting involved in sustainability in beekeeping because you want to pollinate more of the plants around you, the native plants, or you want to support the ecosystem, right? Economics, some people want to start a beekeeping business, or you want to sell hive products like wax, propolis, royal jelly, or of course honey at your local farmers market. Entertainment, some people enjoy just going out there inspecting it's like a pet in some ways. And some people, many people have fun beekeeping, going out, spending time with the hives, with the family, potentially with friends. Aesthetics, hives can look nice in the backyard. So it definitely is. We were just actually, Wendy and I and Kent volunteers had the opportunity to go to the Northern California landscape and home exposition at the Cal Expo here in Sacramento this last weekend. And we were tabling there, and people, were interested in having hives in their backyard. It's a statement. It's a little bit of it adds to the landscape. Right? And the health as well. So there's been studies showing that beekeeping is good for mental health. It is also shown to help for vets. We have scholarships for that. And the physical health too, gets you outside, gets you moving. So why am I sharing all this? It's that regardless of what your goal is in beekeeping, and maybe you don't know your goal yet, the first level is for you to help to figure out what your goals are. The program is designed to have something for everyone. So we're not focused only on, we're going to teach you what you need to know to produce honey and sell honey. It's more than that. It's how do you support the ecosystem? It's how can you enjoy your time in the hives and not get injured if you're older? How do you ergonomically take care of it? So it's very broad, and there's to basically take into consideration that people's goals are broad. Diverse goals in beekeeping. And do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, we have different stocks, hive types, different ways of using products that we take from our hives. And depending on how you choose to practice your beekeeping, you'll have different ways of treating for pests and disease. And our program covers pretty much all of that. We offer a lot of ideas, and you make those choices based on what's best for you and your bees, of course.
So enter the California Master Beekeeper Program. So as Wendy just mentioned, there's many different ways of beekeeping. And like I went over before that, there's many different goals in beekeeping. This program is designed from its start to be community-based and based on what beekeepers out in the field want to learn in beekeeping. And how do we do that? We do that through standard setting. So I mentioned the curriculum development committee. We're constantly updating all the questions, the standard. So the exams at the end of each of the levels that we'll be talking about pretty soon, those are not like the SAT and SAT. And well, I guess there's some feelings out there sometimes that standardized testing can be arbitrary in what they test for, but the tests that we have, although standardized, they are meant to be useful standards. Also, building and serving community, a big draw for people to join CAMP, especially for those who are already involved in beekeeping, is the community. So, you can read all the textbooks you want in beekeeping, but there's always going to be situations that are not covered in online forums, in textbooks. There's so many variables in beekeeping, so many situations. You might have too much humidity and a certain combination of pests and diseases. How do you solve that? Well, you talk to people who have faced similar situation nearby. That is usually the best way. Finding mentors, finding other people to connect with. And so we work closely with beekeeping organizations across the state to get you connected and to support them in their teaching. So there are prep courses that you can take through partner organizations to prepare for the certification exam to supplement the resources that we already give you. It's like you can kind of think of it as analogous, SAT. There's all these paid like prep course centers, but for CAMP, there's all of these local organizations that offer free prep courses in addition to all the material you want if you want an in-person experience and you live far away from UC Davis. So, and then also there's education as well. So in addition to the California Master Beekeeper Program, all the resources we're going to go through with you today, we also do, like field trips for like high schoolers and things like that. So, and if you want to get involved in any of that, kind of giving back and educating others, we give you a toolkit and all the tools you need to teach others as well. So it's really about education and partnership. So Wendy, do you
Yeah,
want to take the note?
sure. Certification levels, Honeybee Ambassador level. Most of us here on the call are here for that. Then after that, if you've answered the 9 questions that you want to ask yourself before you start keeping bees, you'll find that link on the front page of our website. And you choose to do the Honeybee Ambassador level, and then maybe you're interested in pursuing apprentice. Apprentice has a written exam as well as a practical. Once you pass those two, then 80% of both, you get the opportunity to move on to the journey level. And basically, our apprentice level teaches you pretty much everything you need to know to be a double thumbs up beekeeper, so to speak, right? Journey level, it's a little more into a lot of the advanced anatomy and physiology. We take a deeper dive into honey and products of the hive, and we explore queen rearing, which includes grafting. And we like to ensure that even though there are some spots in Southern California where it doesn't make sense for beekeepers to graft their own queens, we like everybody in our program to at least have a base understanding, the knowledge as to what it takes to raise queens and how to graft. And at the capstone or master level, it's project-based. So we encourage individuals who decide to go for that capstone to do something that brings you joy. And there are several tracks that you can choose. So perhaps you're loving research. Maybe you enjoy education and outreach. Maybe you love native bees and you want to do a native bee track. Maybe you would like to do a project on planting a pollinator garden. Perhaps you'd like to work on advancing policy for bees in the state of California. Whatever it is that brings you joy, that's what we invite you to consider at the capstone level. So 4 levels, and folks can start and finish. We've had people go through our program with such enthusiasm. They've finished from honeybee ambassador to the end of their master capstone within 2.5 years. So it has been done. Or just take the honeybee ambassador, and that's all you need. Or stop at apprentice or journey, whatever suits you. So those are the levels.
And so the certification, those 4 levels, and depending on where you want to end or go to the end or stop halfway through, what is really the value in moving through this program? Well, it can help you meet your beekeeping goals. So a certification, the standard that we have been developing in conjunction with the community, sets a bar so that, for example, if you say, I can learn everything I need to know from YouTube, that may be true. But when you really learn once you run into a problem, it is more reactive versus proactive. And the perspective here is there's value in like learning a broad spectrum and becoming a well-rounded beekeeper before you run into these issues last minute. And so this program can help you fill in maybe areas that haven't been filled in your education. So that there's a lot of value in that. And also, if you don't really know what your goals are in beekeeping, it's exciting, you love bees, you want to get involved, but you don't really know what that's going to look like in terms of your own commitment or in terms of how it's going to play in your broader responsibilities, then the goal setting, which is what the Honeybee Ambassador level is all about, is very useful as a base level. Also, the knowledge. So there's a lot of information out there online that has changed over the years due to new research, or is maybe unintentionally incorrect. So we have been careful to include only evidence-based and research-based where possible information throughout the curriculum. So when you do learn, you can be sure that it is backed and it is been proven in one way or another. The community, I went over a little bit earlier, that there's a lot of benefit to that. You have a mentorship program, for example. The credibility may also be useful if you want to establish a career or a business in beekeeping. The credibility can be useful in those cases as well to get the stamp of the UC California Master Beekeeping Program. And in terms of partners, because that's really what we're all about the community partnership. This is built by the community, this program. There's our close partners are on this map. You can see there's some all across the state. Northern California, Humboldt, Central California, the Mount Diablo region, and the Sacramento area, and in Southern California, there's a lot down there. And this isn't completely up to date. I believe there's 1 or 2 more, and there's more in the pipeline that are coming. And these are on the Hawaii too. And these are the closest partners, but there's a lot of like more colloquial ones as well. Also, CDFA, California Department of Food and Agriculture. We've trained some of their inspectors have gone through this program to help them train and get up to the highest level they can be with the most up-to-date information they can have. And also we do trainings for companies as well in the beekeeping industry. And here's a long list of other colloquial partners. The top right, you can see a photo of UCLA where I actually came from, how I got involved in the program a few years ago. Some of the students there going through the program there that was built with the support of Wendy and Camp, which inspired me to join. So how the program works, let's get a little bit into the practical logistics, what it's going to look like. The first step, which some of you have already completed, is the registration. And we'll go through each of these steps in a little bit more detail, but this is the overview page. So registration, then there's orientation, then you prepare for the evaluation, which is the exam. And preparation, it usually takes the longest. Obviously, is studying, is taking the classes. Evaluation, for the evaluation, each level has a little bit of a different evaluation. The final level, for example, the master capstone is just capstone project. So there really is some exam, it's just a final presentation. Then the fifth one, we always highly recommend everyone to join us in the annual celebration that we have, which this year will finally be back to hybrid. So it's not going to only be. Also to note, once you register, it depends on what level you registered for, but it's about 1 to 2 years for you to take the exam. So you can take as long as you want, up to 1 year or all the way up to 2 years, depending on the level. And also, so there are continuing education and volunteer requirements, which we have made very flexible. Almost anything qualifies, even watching a YouTube video, in order to keep your certification active. So now, and this always happens on this slide. Okay. So, and Wendy, if you want to take any of these, let me know. I'm just going to get going through.
Yeah,
these.
yeah, I'll jump in when I feel that I need
So
to.
okay. So the registration is step number 1. So the application is on the website. Many of you might have already seen it or gone through it. There's no need to choose an exam date at the time of registration because we have the written exam you could take at any time. The practical exam, there's many times throughout the year that you can take it. And then, so once you apply, we review the application. Dr. Alina Nino reviews it, and Wendy and I review it, and then we accept you, or if you need more information, you reach out, and then we send a acceptance letter, and then with that acceptance letter, there's a link to a pay, and if you have scholarships available based on merit and based on need. So please reach out if you'd like more information on that.
Yeah, I really appreciate how we've established a rolling enrollment. So it doesn't have to happen first thing in January or February. Our enrollment is open 12 months of the year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that was so the classes are running throughout the year. All the materials are completely available throughout the year. So rolling is how it's currently going. And also, so the last step for is gaining the website access and the prep resources and the exam sign up is also there as well. And I'm going to do a quick demo here. I have the page already open. So this is our website. So under certifications is where you want to go. This has basically most of the information covered here in this info session is on this page. It's actually a very long page if you open up each of these tabs. But here at the top is really where you register. So you register, and then you need to be logged in to register. So you click the login button. If you don't have an account, you can create an account easily for free. So click create account. So let's just create login on these tests. Have to set up. And then the application is here. There's 6 different steps, and then you're done. And it shouldn't take more than half an hour, filling out all the short response questions as well. And again, if any questions are coming to mind, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end, or we'll ask them verbally. Okay, so after registration, you're in, right? There we have orientation, and orientation we have a recording of you can watch, or you can attend it remotely. We offer twice a year. The next one is next week, next Wednesday. So if you're thinking about joining, or you want to attend a live orientation, try to do it before next Wednesday. Or if not, that's fine. Then you can watch the recording or wait until the next one. And orientation is done remote. And evaluation is different depending on the level. But we know across all the levels, you can take the exam anytime within 1 to 2 years, depending on the level. The written exam is remote and it's 2 hours, 80% is passing. The practical exam, which is what we call the in-person exam, is 30 minutes and 80% is passing. And there's different ways you can take the in-person exam. Not going to go too much in detail here, but basically you can come to one of our partner organizations across the state and take it with them, or you can come to UC Davis at our headquarters and take it, or you can take it in your own apiary via Zoom if you have Wi-Fi, or you can even make a recording of yourself going through the exam checklist and demonstrating all the competencies, and we'll submit the video and we will grade it. So there's a lot of different options. We try to make it as flexible as possible for everyone that they know. Everybody has some of the responsibilities to stay tight on time. So we're here to support you in learning. And then retakes are granted under special circumstances as well. So
Yeah,
when did you want to take?
Yeah, sure. So honeybee ambassador levels, pretty basic stuff. And as I alluded to earlier, it really helps us get an idea as to whether or not we have the time, the energy, the money, the desire to keep bees. Gives us a little bit of an overview as to how we need to show up to be a good beekeeper. Next slide.
And for this level, is there written and practical or just written?
Just the written. Yep, just the written. We used to have a practical, but no, we scrapped that because honeybee ambassador is more about an introduction to beekeeping, basically. So you get your history, biology, some techniques, a little bit of IPM, and an overview as to what equipment you might want to consider. Yeah, and the apprentice level, this, as I mentioned earlier, is where you really learn what you need to know to keep healthy bees. It's science-based beekeeping at its best, basically. And even if you've not owned or managed hives, been in bees for a year, if you take the honeybee ambassador level, you are then invited to come to the apprentice level. The one thing that we at the camp do encourage everybody to consider and follow through with is to join your local beekeeping club or association. As Keon mentioned earlier, it's important. Beekeeping is a pretty communal effort. And of course, you've got a community here within the camp, but you also have a community within your locale that is specific to your weather, your geography, your forage. It's really important to know your local beekeepers, because if you need help, you can call folks. If you want a mentor, most clubs and associations have ways of supporting the beekeepers. So we highly encourage you to join your local beekeeping association. At the apprentice level at the camp, we have an exam online, and we also have a practical, which you can do over Zoom, if you happen to be one of those fortunate folks who has Wi-Fi in your apiary. You can also video yourself doing your practical, and you can also either come to Davis, go to one of our local camp hubs, one of our partner organizations, or just hang out with a friend, get them to video and prompt you through it. Or perhaps the mentor that you meet at your local bee association. So lots of ways to approach it. I hope that we can offer enough ways that suit everybody.
And could you remind me how long candidates have to take the exam from registration time for apprentice level?
Yeah, well, most of us are all adults, right? And life gets in the way. So 18 months on the outset, really. And if you need an extension, we're there for you. Just ask. But most folks do it within a season. So, and a season being, I'll say start in March and end up doing your practical in September. And this content you'll be able to find on the website. At the journey level, it's just one step up, and we do advanced anatomy and physiology. As I mentioned, we do the queen work, and we get into honey and hive products. And there is a written and practical evaluation of that as well. And you'll be able to find a bit of the syllabus online as well on the website.
And I see this cool, colorful
Yeah,
wheel on the
that's
top right. What is that?
the honey wheel. It's Davis honey wheel. We alluded to getting into honey and hive products, right? We learn how to use them. So you can wow all your friends at honey tasting over holidays and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Cheese pairings, lots of fun. Yeah, so all that content's on the website. Now, master level, again, it's a capstone project. I'd mentioned the tracks that we have, and you can see some examples that have already been created on our camp YouTube. And yeah, if you have an idea or a strong desire to engage in a project that you've always wanted to do with bees, capstone is your answer. So consider that. And all you need to do to get there is to pass your journey level, and capstone is yours.
Yeah, no, I love the capstone as well, because it's like the way, at least I view CAMP, is an amplifier of existing organizations that are beekeeping organizations that are already doing good work, the amplifier of people like you guys who are here to learn and to contribute back to the community. The master level is service-based. It's giving back to the community while building something new and learning something for yourself. And it's just beautiful. Like, I mean, we have all the examples here at the bottom too, which just by themselves are so interesting. But these projects play on each other, and people are inspired from each other, and they build on each other previous projects, and some projects become part of the curriculum, right? Like which one was it, Wendy? The honeybee removal and relocation, right?
Yeah, rescue, removal, and relocation. And speaking of curriculum, another track at that level is to facilitate ongoing development and organization of the curriculum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great.
Mhm.
And yeah, so summary of the levels, some recap of what we've gone through so far. There's 4 levels: honeybee ambassador, basic theory, basic knowledge, knowing if you want to get involved in beekeeping. Apprentice is really 0 to 100 in terms of learning how to keep your own hives And if you're dropped anywhere in California with the financial resources needed, you should be able to successfully start hives at the end of the apprentice after passing it. Journey is theoretical and advanced practical knowledge, and master is a master capstone. And you can see the fees on the right-hand side there, and the prerequisites for the journey and master, or you have to have completed the previous level. While apprentice, you can either do the Honeybee Ambassador or own hives for a year. And scholarships are available based on need and merit.
Yeah, and we should mention that at the capstone level, we have between 1 to 2 years to finish out, depending on what it is we're doing. Say if it's a research project, and it is a formal presentation in front of a panel, which at the end will get you your master designation.
Yeah, and I'm being inspired here to add in a column soon, but in terms of how long you have to complete, and again, we read extensions in cases where it's required. But the Honeybee Ambassador is 1 year, apprentice is 1.5, journey is 1.5, and master is like Wendy mentioned, up to 2. 1 to 2. Up to 2 is the max. So now we're going to get into the preparation portion, the content of all the resources we have to help you get prepared and pass the exam. This is really all the resources to help you study. So we have tried to compile a variety of different resources depending on different levels of guidance. Some people like to be more self-guided. Some people want classes that are very guided. And also in-person opportunities versus remote. Some people live in rural areas, their in-person is not as available to them, or some people want to do them more remotely in certain cases. So the idea is to mix and match to build your study plan. So we're about to go through a long list of resources, and you don't have to do all of them. You don't have to read the textbook and take all the classes and do the study guide and do the mentorship program and you don't have to do all of it. You don't have to do any of it technically. You can just take the exam right after you register. It's not suggested though. But we have all these different options for you to choose from. And we also don't want you to feel choice paralysis with all these options. So we've tried to create some study plans within each, which kind of see what I'm saying. So first one, which is the one you would think about, are classes. So we have both in-person live classes and also remote virtual live classes. And we record all of the virtual ones so you can watch them. At the top right here, you can see the video library. So once you become a member, you will have access to the full video library of all of the recordings from all the classes in the last year. And in terms of the requisite chart, you can see here, that is what you can use to guide what classes do I need to take to pass apprentice, or what classes do I need to take to really know what I need to know for Honeybee Ambassador. We've color coded them, and we've also, the course number, the beginning of it kind of tells you which level is appropriate for. And so this is one opportunity. And at the bottom right, there's Dewey Karen. He's the I don't have a textbook with me right next to me, but he is the textbook writer, writer for one of the de facto textbooks, beekeeping textbooks, and it's actually our default textbook that we recommend to purchase. And he gave us a guest lecture last year. So that's just one example. There's many guest lectures throughout the year in addition to our core curriculum and the requisite chart. So it's not only about learning the anatomy of a bee. There's a lot of fun, like mead making and honey tasting and anything. So in terms of self-guided options, there are study guides that we have available for each level. As study guide, we highly recommend, regardless of how much you prepared to still go through it right before taking the exam. We also have practice exams. We also have textbook that I mentioned, and there's also an online course for 2 of the levels, apprentice and journey. And collaboration. So there's options to collaborate with others. We have a mentorship program. You can see the mentorship map, which we're working on updating actually soon. You can see it here at the bottom right. Support sessions as well, online forum, which is a Slack where you can instant message others. Also, I mentioned prep courses to our partner programs. There's 3 as of for last year. This year is being updated as we speak. But these beekeeping organizations, one in Northern California, one in Central or like Bay Area, and one in Southern California, have in-person opportunities to supplement everything that we have. And with that, we have come to the end of the presentation. Again, we are here to support you in your beekeeping journey, and whatever your goals are, we look forward to having you in the program. And thank you for your time tonight. I will stop the recording and we'll go into Q&A. Anything else, Wendy, before I stop the recording?